Apex fans, rejoice. Floor enjoyers, this one was for you guys. Apex have taken map 1 against Team Heretics of all teams. I think this is the upset that nobody saw coming. We talked about the maps and everything already, but this is the thing. Billy, this was never supposed to happen. This is not in the script.
This is not in the script.
How did it happen?
Honestly, I said this during kickoff too, though. I was like, Team Heretics, hello? What happened? What's going on? And it's the same going into this. Apex, I'm like, what happened? Not Team Heretics, Apex, what happened? Because that was a crazy performance from Apex.
I'm a bit stunned.
You're a bit stunned?
I'm a bit stunned, I'm a bit shocked.
At what point did you believe that this was going to go to Apex? Like, at what point of the game?
Yeah, like towards the end of the first half, I had a lot of doubts.
For Heretics?
Yeah, they weren't playing, like at the end of kickoff, the point was they weren't playing like they did in 2024, and it's the same.
I think a lot of that came with that beautiful defense half, right? From the Cypher deadlock stuff, in particularly the deadlock, because again, when agent select happened, we're so used to seeing Soulcast on it. It was a bit strange, but I felt like Mosey silenced all the doubts.
Oh, I was rubbing my hands when I seen that composition. I was like, this looks familiar. This is what they ran at Ascension last year. So yeah, obviously, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it, and that's what they managed to achieve. I think Mosey jumping onto that deadlock, though, he found so much success with these gravity net plays. He was able to completely counter any sort of waylay play that Miniboo was trying to have as well, just using it very reactively. And of course, he's usually playing that initiator, so it seems very natural for him to be able to play off of that utility in that way. And I think as well, the fact that he was able to get this amount of ultimate kills, 100% success rate, when do we ever see that with someone playing the deadlock? I think he performed phenomenal.
Yeah, I think on the Heretics side, it's not like they played against a composition here that's that uncommon. It was the Deadlock Cypher became quite popular last year. This was Heretics' map pick, so it's going to be interesting to see how this series ends up going.
I think the map choice was strange, right? Because they permabanned it for so long, and some of the players even said it in the past, they just didn't like the map that much. I don't know what changed. I would love to talk to them about it at some point just to get some answers. But we have to give some flowers to the new face here in VCT EMEA, Governor, and also one of the veteran players, Avova, rolling back the years, Mini. We've seen Avova have these kind of performance since first strike, you know, on the same exact agent.
Yeah, I mean, like, we came into this expecting that it's going to be Batu and Floor, and then out of nowhere, Avova and Governor are giving us, like, 2021 performances. So, fair play.
We're not complaining.
I mean, he asked for a new controller agent in that interview at the start of show, right? But I think he's doing just fine on the Omen. You can see the comfortability that he has on this and the amount of value that he was able to get even from things like Paranoia to kind of slow that push despite Apex still choosing to have the double Sentinel. And I think it's really disappointing for Team Heretics because they weren't able to get a single round when they switched sides. So it's just kind of like, where do you start pointing the fingers? And as we go on to Apex's map pick, yeah, there's a lot of question marks being raised.
I mean, when was the last time we saw Heretics not win a single retake on a map? I don't think it's ever happened. I really, in my mind at least, I don't even remember any time that's happened to them. And this is where things get even more peculiar because Split is next, and Split is yet another map that this year at least, Billy, Heretics were completely avoiding at kickoff.
Yeah, completely avoiding. We've not seen them play it in a long, long time. However, I do want to be like a little bit optimistic because as soon as we go to Split, you know, we are potentially going to see that sort of double duelist composition, potentially on both sides, right? Apex have 3 duelists that they could choose from now. But I think for Team Heretics, yeah, I'd like to see them confident. I'd like to see them go back to that Neon, that ISO, those kind of things that worked for them on Split in the past.
Yeah, I was a bit of a doubter about the double duelist, but Split is the map I love it on. I've always been a lover on it, so if both of them play it, I'm absolutely happy here.
This is where we want to see both of them play it, right? They all have the tools to do that. And just for some context, because Governor traditionally plays Sky on Split, he's also played Jet, Raze, and Reyna. You know, you never know. Batu, however, Astra Sky. He's not really kind of leaned into that double dive, whereas Floor, as you can imagine, is very much the Raze, the Jet, a couple of chambers, you know, here and there. So they do definitely have options. I think Floor would be the obvious one that you have to put on the duel list, but would you guys like to see Batu or Governor here? Or 3, why not?
I think it's difficult because who then jumps onto that Sentinel, right? Or like if they're going to run that double controller, maybe you do have someone slot onto the Astra. It's a difficult one, and I think as well, Split is a map that's not super comfortable for Mosey or Avova. At least in Apex last year, they didn't touch it at all. They played it once against Falcons, and that was it. They did not go near that Split map. So I think for them to pick it going into this one, they must have something really exciting cooked up.
I would go Batu over Governor.
Blore.
Personally.
You just love Blore.
Yeah.
I love the Blore.
You're such a Blore enjoyer.
I think it's like Governor has a different skill set than Batu, so
yeah,
Batu go kill.
And again, if he can... The Sky, I don't like it that much, but if he wants to, it's comfortable for them. You know, definitely something we've seen on Split, at least. On the other side, however, for Heretics, we are expecting Vut, Miniboo, just go kill, right?
Yeah.
Because at some point, they have to go kill. They're getting diffed a little bit on the server right now, and they want to take this to a map 3. And looking at the Agent side, we don't get the double duelist on Apex, but we do get Vut on the ISO Mini. I love this.
When I say double duelist on this map, it's usually the Euro Rays or like Jet Rays.
But ISO.
ISO Woots. I mean, he didn't have a great first map, so I'm hoping that this is the turnaround now.
Yeah, I think ISO is a great agent for him to be able to like kind of bring up that energy again. But I think for me, Governor jumping onto that Tejo on Apex, that's really interesting. It's going to be, nice to see how he kind of plays around that agent. And of course, Mosey back onto that Breach, that's something that's very comfortable for him. But Batu on the Viper as well, right? For someone that is such an explosive player, seeing him on something a bit more restricted, such as Viper, is really interesting to me.
Yeah, of course, for Governor, he was never the Tejo player on Talon. It was banned. So I wonder if he's picked up anything from that.
I mean, I just love the comp from Apex, to be honest with you. The Heretics' comp to me screams that maybe this still isn't one of their better maps.
Oh.
So I'm a bit worried that they're exposing their map pool here this series.
Well, I'm full bias out here because Apex are on the cusp of pulling up one of the biggest upsets we have ever seen in VCT EMEA. Mitch and Tom, let's see what's going to happen on Split.
Thank you very much. Yes,
we're on day 2.
Off to a flying start. I mean, for Team Heretics coming in today, our matchup later on, we could have seen a 2-1 possibly. But this one, it seemed out of the question. This is Heretics. These are Los Niños after all. But today, they didn't come in on form on their map pick. Now we're on to Split, somewhere Apex wanted to see this battleground go to. And in the veto process, Tom, it seemed pretty clear that Heretics had the upper hand. Well, that whole script is out the window. And I'm excited to see how this story ends as we get into Split, Apex's map pick, and they will be starting out on the attack side.
See what they've got planned. Already excited to see that Teo in Governor's hands. And of course, Fluorescent on a Yoru, and if you're not excited, you're weird. Stun through, already taking a lot of ground, but this leaves Benji in a bit of an obscure position. 2 players watching back towards the vents. The A site from the defense is currently wide open. Not a single player within the constraints of the site. Seems like they were quite happy to play retake on that one.
Fluorescent's given up the space, being reclaimed. Benji's now sat there ready for the fight, although Utility sends him backwards. A lot of delay around middle. And this swing in is costing them a lot of health. The spams from that Ghost have been not quite deadly, but pretty damn close to it. Batu uses the Viper Wall to try to sneak up into heaven. Benji with a snake bite buys himself a moment. Governor from the rope catches it. And that pick is huge. Normally that's going to send players rotating to that A site through spawn. And Apex might be gambling that that's the case as they still set their eyes on this B site where there's plenty of Heretics players waiting for them to round the corner. It's at least going okay to start with, but the HP so low on these players, and Miniboo will decimate them with the spike on the floor. It's all on to Batu.
15 seconds. The time just not on his side to try and get anything. In fact, even getting the spike and planting it at this stage should be impossible. Undercut just to make things a little bit worse. And while Miniboo back in full force, a 4K for him in the pistol. And something that I think is so obvious to touch on, but it's been spoken about for a long, long time. It's like, okay, because of that performance all the way back at Masters, how Woot played on a duelist, is this team eventually just going to get to the point where they go, screw it, we got 2 of the best youngsters in the world, let's just out-frag them. I think that's basically what they're doing on their split. Like, you're going to be very reliant on Benji playing a Viper that is not only like partially your controller, but also basically a sentinel, especially when it comes to this defensive side. Rien's playing that initiator that basically just has to get them every single piece of intel they need, and not a mass amount of setup utility. Will it matter when you have Miniboo and Woot both playing Duelist? No.
Well, at least it shouldn't. Let's see. I'm not sure there's any convention to cling on to with how things went in that last map. For Apex, well, you don't expect much in this round. It's all classics, and a slow move across the map as perhaps even farming orbs will be the best case scenario. For now, big rotation from Heretics. 4 players either on B site or up in heaven. Of course, if you do claim A with those classics, even if they do manage to run through Rien's, you'll only pick up a Ghost. And it's going to be very difficult. Oh, there we go. There's the info. It's going to be very difficult to hold on to that ground once the retake comes through. With the Prowler spotting one, Rienz knows he doesn't want to stick around. That means he avoids the stun. Would have caught him. And now use C's to slow them down somewhat on the way through. Still, Malsey good for one. And another fight with Fluorescent. Not expected to be quite that close. At first, I thought taking A not that bad. But the kill and the weapon pickup, now it's scary.
Especially with that weapon being in the hands of Fluorescent. Governor also still standing. Could potentially cause them problems with the salvos as well. The only issue is they are all stuck in this corner, which, okay, working with pistols can help them out, but could also be their demise. The connection onto the fake out is going to leave them blinded. But okay, Miniboo, that might just be the end of it. A spray through. Even still, the amount of players that they've dropped really has made this round costly. But the main thing for Heretics was, okay, at least they got it over the line.
Well, that's it, right? 2 weapons carried through. You can definitely lick your wounds in the future rounds. But as you might have seen before we went to the replays and the cams, Miniboo's got his ult online. 7 kills and 0 deaths so far.
Not bad.
That is one way to farm it up. You see that double kill through the
very similar in the last map, though. Very, very hot start. Slowed down for a few rounds, and that was when Apex started coming back. And we really didn't see much from the likes of someone like Woot, who's normally, well, if not second in command, normally the best player in the server. So I want to see if now onto an agent that does become a lot more reliant on just him winning Angels, if he's going to step up to the plate. And as said, gut feeling, yes. Doesn't necessarily mean it will happen, as the last map showed.
Stealth drone's gone through. Boo knows he's caught a gap in it. Oh, but the decoy's the one to run through, nearsighted. He didn't want to take the risk, and well, now he's forced back.
Dirk is in everyone's heads.
Showstopper in play. It's backside and a good connection. The 1-to-1 trades all they'll get for their trouble. With these weaker weapons, you'd like a little more from that, or even just keeping that player alive. Now inside the smoke, though. Oh, okay, they're going to stun Benji right out of it. But that Bucky will be waiting for the late round when they crash their way around to deal with Boo, who is currently, well, dealing a lot of damage. I thought he had another kill out of that, but the sliver of health left on Malsey.
Clinging to life. The thing is, though, Batu's done well. A double trade in a second or so.
Toxins going up.
The bait on the tap, as they will make that push through.
30 seconds left.
The vulnerable thrown out, already utilized. They know exactly where Avova is. In fact, they should have a decent idea of where both players are. And that's the thing for Heretics. Maybe just hoping to buy a little bit of extra time as they reposition. They move back around. 12 seconds left, and now that spike has to be committed.
Left.
And the fact is, the defensive side haven't got a clue as to where they are. The timing, though, from Avova couldn't have been any better. Peeks back up, leaves Rienz on a slither of health, and playing this one together, that is sublime from the remaining couple of players from Apex. Again, a very costly round, but they won't mind.
Avova in crunch time is there to save them yet again. I'm just looking back at last map, it was 19 kills, 6 deaths, and 16 assists that he ended up walking out with. Of course, the smokes will help you out. We saw the assist on the spike kills.
Yeah.
But it's very impressive to see that kind of a performance, the return to the Avova of old, and that can carry through moving into split. Heretics are in a lot of trouble for now. Great sign of life from that defensive side of Heretics. Good damage done. Showstopper for the 1-to-1 trade is so-so. But from that point forward, even with big plays from players like Batu, they were able to make it competitive, and push it to the limits. This is the round where they'll be able to deal the death blow themselves, though. Full investment, Boombot down mid, and Woot embedded in this risky angle. I mean, if he goes down, or if he's challenged properly, there's not much he can do to get out of here.
When does he decide to activate a double tap? It doesn't really seem like a good time. It would only be if they really do give the game away. Maybe if a teammate gives him contact. Well, okay, Floor's gone teleporting through the vulnerability and now looks to try and potentially take an extra fight, but with already having a player advantage. I'm just going to fall off. Again, this is what I said in the pistol. They left a mass opening over on this A site, and especially with the player that went down in the form of Boo, they have to be very careful of where Batu has got to.
They are grouped up as 3 and watching the right angle. Batu won't catch them by surprise.
30 seconds
The spike
left.
now
Same
moves
again.
in the other direction, realizing they've lost that space. A big fan of the fake plays, and it worked wonderfully when it came to Ascent. The plant will be acquired as a result, and again, a 2v4 clutch needed. A clutch in which Malzy, after a pretty hot map on the deadlock, but also
10
Avova
seconds
is
left.
present.
Spike planted.
The thing is, though, what they're doing is just grouping up as 3. Like, at any stage, they should be able to at least trade one of those kills, and then it's the patience from Benji just to make sure that nobody can sneak around behind them and reclaim heaven control. The whole idea is for just him to stop anybody pushing any further, and from Malzy just sat at the back of that site. Paranoia also will have caught a couple of players, but getting out of here seems tough, and that was the kill they were waiting for. Waiting for that move from Benji, perfectly placed. Malzy does manage to, though. But thankfully, Benji's there as the safe pair of hands. An immediate response from Heretics. They'll convert that lead a little further.
Do like as well, though, seeing Avova pop his TP and instantly looks behind. He had a read on Benji's flank, but couldn't connect the kill. This early aggression down middle, though, ambitious as hell from Woot. Manages to connect the kill onto Fluorescent. Pops out the vulnerable to slow them down, send them in the other direction, and the double tap most certainly. The second you hear that shield pop up and online, you are not looking to challenge. You just want that timer to run out. And they fled, and from there, playing the numbers on the defense always works out.
It's been very interesting, because I think the 2 players that the community have been very critical of going into this match were Miniboo and Malzy. I think Malzy was nigh on perfect on map 1. Mini was currently up there with 10 kills after 4 rounds, so it definitely seems like they've been in the lab working. And I guess when Heretics don't succeed, it's always difficult to find the point to blame when they have so many fantastic players within this roster. Already, though, a more direct approach, and while they've walked right into the crosshair of Woot, and they haven't walked away.
The opening is strong, and well, now at least for Apex, they can wait out that double tap. It's not going to get much easier from that point. All these weaker weapons.
There.
Well, Heretics are ready and waiting. A nice passive play. They're even conceding. So the big problem here is they've lost a lot of access. The mid push can easily come through. So instead, the push up from Heretics into B main, taking that angle and isolating the positions they can be flanked out from. Woot up close on this smoke. He doesn't know just how many players are right around the corner, and now isolated by the salvos. Boo has to take the fight. He wins one, somehow getting out of there with a kill, but it's Apex with the upgrades. They'll be feeling like they're in a better spot. Rolling Thunder leaves Rian's in the open. He's still alive. Eventually will be dropped. But with that, the rifle retrieved, the plant secured, and Governor has his ult online. The Rolling Thunder got them the sight. Perhaps the Armageddon can get them the round.
This would be one hell of a round for them to lose. Opening pick, barely any weaponry, but now Governor also has that rifle in hand.
One enemy
That's
remaining.
big, though. Taking that gun out of play. Malzy needs to try and catch someone off guard, trying to re-aggress, but there's only so many places that he really could be isolated back towards the site. Needs an immediate connection, because there really isn't anywhere for him to go. Trying to bait him into that fight, and while the second he looks to try and use that aftershock, it is all she wrote. Again, though, another round where I sort of look at this from the side of Apex ago, from the side of Heretics. It felt like there were just some unnecessary risks, especially playing that close to the smoke. When you know you have a huge weaponry advantage, I don't really see the benefit.
Yeah, and you saw as well the fact that on the other side, the salvos were used just in time from Apex. It stops Boo from backing off, and that's not just 1 kill, that's 2 kills. And why is Boo there? Well, because Woot's there. You can't just leave him close to that smoke in his own. So, yeah, it definitely does read as a little bit of a gap or an unnecessary risk. A timeout called here by Apex. They were 4-0 down on the previous map, ended up winning it 13-5. So there is no room for Team Heretics to take their foot off the gas. And keep in mind, with this being Apex's map choice, this is the half that Heretics decided to start on, so a good showing is necessary.
Well, I say as well, if you think back to the Ascension run made from Apex, something we always spoke about was Danito pauses. Like, this was something that was brought up time and time and time again, the amount that this guy adds in tactical pauses. And I think we've seen already the sort of imagination that's coming in from this roster in terms of the way they're going to play the game. It is definitely not just standardized. They have a lot of cool setups. So I think that him just taking that moment early in games and going, okay, this is what I think can be changed. Because I don't think he's just sat there giving them a motivational speech. I think this guy always comes in with a plan.
Well, I would certainly hope so. 4-1. And a plan for Apex could be dangerous with a Viper's Pit, Armageddon, and a Yoru ulti online as well. They can take this to another dimension and see if Heretics can battle with them there. As the barriers are about to go up, a lot of presence from Apex towards this B side of the map. They've got a Viper wall down there as well, and it will be late round lurks from Batu. Immediate ult from Fluorescent. Playing this as a drone normally. Stun goes through though. It's commitment! And Fluorescent's got 1! Salvos making a big problem for players on the side, and here comes Armageddon right into Fluorescent's arms. That's where they have to play. The picks are huge, and Heretics get the site for free as a result. And look at the lurk from Batu. It's perfect. Miniboo clears that angle, but really, do you ever expect someone to be there?
Oh, well, dude, mentioned the Danito pause. I don't think this could have gone any better. I want to know, I need to know if he called this setup. Like, if this was something like, okay, we're going to have this plan, you're going to, like, obviously try and find someone, we're going to pick off that, and then we're going to use that ult, or if that was just something in the moment. Because if this was something red, then that is ridiculous. Because that was so meticulous in the setup, to finding the first kill off the back of a stun, to making sure the player up in heaven had nowhere to go. It looked so easy with those couple of ults thrown into play. And well, a great response from Apex after a couple of tough rounds. That was really clean.
It absolutely was. Gets you back on the board. The ult used from Yoru, of course, alongside Tejo. It's a big investment. If they don't get a reward for it, it could leave you stranded a little bit in terms of that ult economy, but they have worked this one out wonderfully. Still, the connections needed. And Team Heretics will now come in with some advantages of their own. Viper's Pit on either side, close to a showstopper on Miniboo, but take a look at Woot. He can pull you right into a 1v1, and he might not have, I think he's 3 and 5 at the moment. But I don't think that fight with a double tap online inside the ulti is going to be very easy for anyone on Apex to deal with.
Already going to be under some serious pressure. The stuns combined with that salvo. One of the 2 rifles. It's the Boo brothers looking to try and take home the round. He's done well there. Sure, it's not the prettiest of fight, and I imagine the gun's going to go into new hands, but if they can keep that up, it's not bad.
Yeah, whether the Viper's Pit will be used up against so many pistols or not, we'll never know. Governor picking up Miniboo though, that's huge.
Who's been given the gun?
Only rifle. He's gone for it now, looking for the fight with the double tap online, and just a single shot from Woot is enough. Fluorescent out of the round, and now the pressure really on. Benji's managed to recover a rifle, it's a Phantom, and Viper's Pit's there. If they can get to the side, it could be used. If there's anyone left, they need a couple kills, and it's a Volva on the other side, picking up 3. The round was under threat, but they forgot about this man, showing his face. In the same form as map number 1, he's starting to heat up again.
Yeah, I like it as well. You constantly see those sort of interplay between Malzy and Avova, and this round is no different. Trying to make their way back into the site. The stun catches both players. The second the stun goes off, Avova's there to swing, and it almost looks too easy once again. After a 4-1 deficit, It seems like the streak is starting once more with some stellar play from the side of Apex. And that's the thing. This was a round that only started with a couple of guns. Definitely came a bit closer, but those post plants have looked great.
Fight for Boo. Not sure he'd want to take that if he knew what was on the other side. Fluorescent picks up the kill in the Viper's pit inside of mid. But they gotta stay in it. Benji wants that control late into the round, but it means on the site there's only one player and stunned up, caught by the Tejo drone as well. Miniboo had nothing to do or say about that play. Now a 5v3. Viper's pit dropped in mid, but Benji's still waiting for that lurk. Batu's timing, though, is good. He is really running the clock down, keeping the control, keeping their back safe as rotations come around now. Malzy making his way towards the spawn, in fact. He's on the walkabouts. They're looking to hunt them down, assuming Heretics are saving.
I wonder if those steps may have been even heard, because you could see the little bit of hesitation from the side of Heretics. And well, here you go. Woot is definitely watching, definitely aware that somebody could be around this corner. That's at least one. Malzy spotted, but the fact is, it's whether or not they want to go for too much of a fight here. Clearly wanting to try and get that ultimate back online as quickly as possible. Even if it didn't win them the round, it did have impact in the attempt. More importantly, holding on to the guns, which, hey, even just removing the one and a second as well. Okay, well done from Malzy.
I have to say, Tom, that felt very early for that call to be made by Apex. And again, I think that's just a good read on where Heretics are at. The previous map as well, their confidence isn't going to be sky high.
Something I want to say, and I want to see if it becomes a running thing. Normally, Boo is an incredibly safe pair of hands, but that is now two times they've left him on his own on one side of the map, and he's just died. Right. Like, it was B main, and we saw it on A main as well, him versus Batu, and that just left the A site completely open. That's not something I want to see from your sort of IGL controller player. It's like, okay, I'm on my own on a site, I'm just going to take a fight. Like that just, in the round before, where they have two guns, I don't really have an issue with it. In this round, that just felt like, oh, that's the easiest opening Fluorescent's ever going to get is, oh, your IGL smokers just swung me.
And realistically, think about it from the perspective of, okay, what's the best case scenario there? You get one, it's a miracle if you get two. There's three players holding the angle. You're traded out.
Or there's no one there. That's probably the best case. Yeah.
And even then, are you going to hold that information deep into the round? Like, yeah, it certainly reads as a mistake from Team Heretics, one that they pay heavily for. They're on that 4-round block. They got it here before, the previous map, and then Apex swept it away. It's been 3 in a row now for that attacking side. Ulti's back online. Viper's Pit's still there for Batu, as Lurk's providing value deep into the round. And again, it was a very early call from Apex, but I think that feeds into their read of how Team Heretics are playing. Economy's low, they're going to try to save the weapons, and they end up cleaving 2 weapons out of their hands in the end.
Also,
devastating.
You're up against Teo, Viper, post plant.
Huge post plant.
What's the chance of them actually going for that? Well, we're back in the same boat again. Rians has done well. Batu's been causing issues in late round plays. Dimensional drift has been utilized just for information. Fluorescent's going to stick it out in the spawn for now. Obviously, the gate crash.
Oh, mate as well. There's no way out for Fluorescent.
Oh,
it's just a full fight. Brave, let's say. And a lot of the time she will win those fights, but up against the weaker weapons, that's given Team Heretics a rifle to play with.
Ooh, oh, what? Where did that go?
Where did it go?
Where did that go? The most didn't die. Oh, I feel like Miniboo's been hard done by. Luckily, Big Brother is there to save the day. Finds on with the Sheriff. They need to clear him from the backside to have a chance, and this time he is playing that survival game. Eventually, though, looks for the fight. Rians with a rifle. Woot still having one from earlier in the round. This is one of the best opportunities we've seen for Heretics in quite a while. Amal Rians is going to hit that shot all day. It's another clutch attempt for Avova, and he's going across the map.
30 seconds left.
Well, it's one thing Avova in a clutch, but a post plant, time on his side. This is where things truly do get spooky. He's going for the aggressive stance, has a smoke in his back pocket, and it will be used to screens. He's already heard the steps moving that way. All 3 players taking that position. Reveal avoided to start with. They're making it out of the smoke now. Small angle around the wall, that gets a pick. plant is nice and open. With a Paranoia still to play with, it won't really connect though. They're going to move out of the way before it gets there, surely. And the Viper Orb, that's going to really complicate things. The spam is good though! He's got him before it even went half, and now they're out of toxins! Avova knows! He's got them eating out of his hands! A fake flash with the pistol thrown out the window. Avova playing this to perfection, and he's ran the clock down far enough. Avova in a clutch, and he's got it again.
It's another Red Bull clutch. I feel like he's going to have his own sponsorship by the end of the month by this rate. Like, this has been so impressive. That's just...
What? How did that not kill him?
Hey, you know, Breach is a strong dude.
Oh, yeah. It hit the metal arm.
Did you not see that? Yeah, he had a buff where, because he's a tank, right? Tank, he has more health,
I mean, he's been robbed. Miniboo robbed of that kill. But Team Heretics robbed of the round by Avova. What a sensational play. And if this was a once-off, it'd still be damn impressive. But he does it every time.
Drone going out.
His clutch stats are going to be off the charts. And they're big ones as well. Ones with high impact, ones that are going to damage the mental of Heretics for days, if not weeks.
Shadows traveling.
Luckily, again, it was a low bite. That's the problem. These opportunities could have shattered Apex confidence in themselves after winning a round with the Sheriff. That was basically what that would have come down to. Boo got a Sheriff kill, Rians as well, but when they had the rifles was where things fell apart. Much slower round this time from Apex, hoping to try and find some space for Batu. Bear in mind, his wall is on the other side, so he's going to have to use his orb. So him crossing is very well telegraphed by the defense.
Fake teleport.
All Rolling Thunder with all that noise being made. Why not make it a little louder? Thunder rings out, but it's Boo's rifle that deals the damage, the death blow, and another to follow up on eventually. He'll go down, but Benji has slipped into the backside. Still has an angle. Woot covering him as well. They'll both swing in deep and take this planter down. Team Heretics, they stumbled and let Apex catch up and even take the lead. But they're back on the board at 5-5.
Yeah, that definitely felt like maybe a little bit of an oversight. I think they used that Rolling Thunder on the right half of the site. And so they should have an idea there's someone still could be backside. I think Fluorescent gets completely caught out by the swing of Boo. The fact he gets two there, that's basically the round winner. Because that could have gone easily in the other direction if he doesn't get anything. Heretics will equalize after a 4-round streak. I think a big combo breaker, and you have to bear in mind only one survived. So although we're getting towards the very end of the half, the next round might be a bit shaky. In all honesty, for either side.
Like you said, a small oversight ultimately cost them the round. A big plays from Boo. This push around the Viper Orb. Not expecting a second, but Miniboo still couldn't make it worthwhile. They'll drop Malsey elsewhere, but a 4 versus 3. Heretics defense thinned out massively.
Well, that's the thing. Governor cleared it with the drone. Avova's committed to From the Shadows, which will take him into the backside with the spike. I think as nobody else was around. But I actually think this has just confused Heretics more than anything, because you haven't actually spotted where Avova went. So although you have a rough idea, Batu as well, timing here will be everything. He has been so annoying just by sitting at the bottom of mid or outside A in a lot of rounds. Now it seems like this time Heretics have got it bang on.
Well, his flank window opened about 3 seconds ago, maybe 5 at this point, and he's now capitalizing on it. That's a great read, just as the push is coming in on the site. He could be here right on time to save the squad, and yeah, they are. They're making noise, they're posturing, but they're not executing fully until Batu is here. And now, here comes the cavalry. A full swing around backside, and Avova to bring Apex back into the lead. A chance to lead at the half as well. After a strong start from Heretics, it's slipping out of their grasp slowly again.
I'm getting deja vu, there's no doubt about that. I think as well, this is just an example of just fantastic communication from the side of Apex. Because a lot of times you'll see teams sort of rush into things, maybe the spikes get lost, but that is clearly just Batu going, okay, give me some time. Give me a few seconds just to get into that backline. Well, he is the major impact in that round. 6-5. The purchase, that's what I was talking about. It's not the best. 3 rifles, a Stinger, and a Sheriff for Boo. What was a hot early start for Miniboo? It is similarly to the last map, has slowed down. Hasn't been able to keep up that same sort of momentum. Still been decent. But this sort of spot, I don't know if decent will cut it.
Oh, I like that bait. They know the drone's being going towards B every time the hit comes there. So it's a classic that breaks it. Leaving Miniboo flying under the radar. But again, it seems Apex are aware of that danger. Player playing up close. Coming through the wall this time instead of hiding. They know something's up. And they're not confident with the lack of information there. Move towards mid instead. Try to work that control, but Benji's waiting. Stun comes in, but Orb buys him time. And he doesn't even need to use the snake bite, saving that for deeper into the round. Also, Benji just 2 away from the Viper's pit with that kill.
Same can be said for Governor, though.
Time to jump.
But also for Batu. He's lost the pit now.
30 seconds
down.
left.
Time is starting to tick. Apex seems like the commitment will be towards the safe side. Wu has left them vulnerable. That's where the value of that Stinger really can be. And they've got to go scurrying back. This needs to be a very quick move. Miniboo hasn't seen. Miniboo hasn't seen.
But you're going away.
Eventually, he's going to realize, and this now just becomes a shooting gallery of what was the one real danger in this round. And well, Mosey will try as he might, but we will go into the half level.
A patience rewarded by Miniboo, or for Miniboo there in the end. He was stood on that spot the whole round, but it was almost awkward. 6-6, neck and neck. But someone has got to win split. We'll find out who after the break. Welcome back, folks. We left you at 6-6, and we haven't played any rounds without you. Quite generous of us. The players have waited, and now we'll be getting back into the game any moment. Tom, I gotta say, we're all pretty shocked by the performance here from Apex. Them putting up a good roster is no surprise, but the way that they've played here today, if I imagined that Heretics would lose a map, that Heretics would struggle like this, it would be based on them making mass mistakes, the game plan falling apart, and Apex capitalizing. But Apex have made their own opportunities here today.
Oh, for sure. No, I think that's the thing. You're looking at players like Abova, players like Mosey, looking like a different breed of player to what we saw at kickoff. Like, we were looking at this team, I'll be brutally honest and say, as the 12th team. Like, whether or not they could compete with a Koi or someone like that. But realistically, they have looked fantastic in this series and are just, what, 7 rounds away from taking this over the line. A lot of damage done, but realistically, it's only the kills going one way. Miniboo, he is the beginning of half king. He's been dominating in a lot of these early fights. The pistol has been doing well. Still 3 more to find.
One of those is fluorescent, caught off by a smoke. Doesn't look like she'll have much impact on them crossing the site or on denying the plant. It's Heretics. And just now actually reposition the plant. They're going to go for a heaven play with a haunt up there, clearing them, buying them that little bit of time. And mean, makes it a bit more worthwhile if they do want to risk a fight for screens or that late play from Rienz up towards the top of ramp. He's currently just holding their back. Possibly even see that wall go up soon. That's his opportunity as the Vova rounds the corner. Paranoia now connected. Avova's picked up one. He has been unbelievable. That first map was beautiful. The second, there were first half, I suppose, here there were opportunities, but he has been shut down. It's Fluorescent to pick up the banner, already finding two, but with the plant for heaven and a player embedded up there, mistakes have to be made to give her any chance, and they will quickly put that to bed. 7-6 with a pistol round for Heretics.
Yeah, I think important that they get off to a decent start coming into the second half. I think in a lot of the early rounds, they've been fantastic. I think Minibu, again, you're the 17-8, definitely slowed down, but coming right back to form when it comes to this attack side. And let's be real, you go into any map and you're looking at it and you're going, okay, they've got a raise, they've got an ISO. I think you can even throw a fade in there and you go, probably going to be quite good on the attack. So now I look at the other side of things. What sort of setups are there? What sort of abilities are we going to see from the likes of Governor to put people into position for those early fights? And this is what I'm talking about. The stun, immediately utilized, but the goal here seems to only be getting orbs for Fluorescent. And, you know, when she gets that many kills in a pistol, and you're a few away from getting that dimensional drift.
Poison's off.
Seeking out some fights on the side of Apex around middle, but that space has been left wide open. Heretics do have themselves quite global map control. It's going to be Boo holding the B push alongside Rienz, holding that walk up on mid. The space taken on A. Well, yeah, Benji's going to go down, but that's the one pistol that they have. Indeed. 2 away now from the ulti. Won't be used here, but perhaps it'll be online for the next round.
That's the thing. One more kill and a death, and that's enough. Or even just a death and getting an orb in the next. It will just be the cleanup crew. Again, Minibu padding those stats. And while we mentioned Fluorescent is very close, so is Minibu, again. Although if it's anything like his last showstopper, maybe just stick to the rifle, honestly. 19-8, and the showstopper has not helped.
No, it really didn't. It harmed his chances, if anything. I still can't get over that. Do you know the best part? Because he flicked away so quick, he's going to watch that back and go, where did it end up landing? He's going to be very angry when he finds out.
Oh, it was next to him.
Yeah, I must have made a mistake, guys. My bad. No. Well, I suppose he did. Yeah, should have hit him dead on. 8-6, 2 rounds in it, but it's Heretics back in the lead. A strong performance in the early half has been there across the board, but now Benji down, ult online for Fluorescent with that kill. They wanted the orb, and they've got it with a TP. The gate crashed towards the B site. Fluorescent is here and ready for the push if this is where it comes down.
Something we noted yesterday. The passive nature of teams playing against this Agent of Teo.
Yeah.
You sit back further because you're likely going to get stunned and wrecked by those salvos. Fact is, that's exactly what's happened to Benji in this round. Nonetheless, was it going to be forced back? Quite a lot of space already garnered towards the heavens, seemingly being given up. Well, that's not quite enough from Avova this time around.
Anyone else?
22 HP. The ult not even thought about. She's holding her ground against this onslaught, regardless of how easy it would be to take her down. Just one bullet needed, but none landed in that last fight. And now a 4 versus 1. Boo, the one to try it, and even he will fail. Fluorescent with her best Neo impression.
I was about to say,
8-7.
She doesn't have health. She doesn't have shields. Maybe she just has aura. That's why it just walks out and goes, oh my god! I don't know what just happened. Like, I think it was from this point onwards. She was just incredibly low, but still managed to win the fight versus Rienz. And then, yeah, you feel like with Boo, she had to be dead to rights. But not the case.
Come on, bro.
Here we go, though. This is where that kill contract online for Wu, likely to try and take someone out of play fairly early in the round. Saying that, Minibu's gone. Already a complete claim the control of Heaven. And similarly to what we've seen from the opposing squad, this is a one-player A-site defense, and it's Yoru.
Yeah, it's Yoru, but that might seem odd, but it's Fluorescent, and now it all makes sense. Gate crash set up to fall back to screens. Fluorescent wants a kill before that's popped, but it's denied, and the util coming behind. Beautiful bait, though. That gate crash has meant that Woot uses the ult on empty space. They'll walk into the site, but Heretics wanted an extra pick, an extra fight with a huge advantage. And the double tap will have faded away. They also used their paranoia for initial heaven control, so there's a lot of important utility not there, while Apex have it all to work with.
Benji is not aware that anybody could be this far behind. That's a couple of times now he's been completely caught out. It is that dimensional drift utilized, stun in combination, but still we see Heretics with an advantage. Woot from the heavens. Looking to try and reclaim some space, wary that maybe someone could have got close. Instead, he drops down and he finds both kills. Big round from Woot, even with that ultimate missing.
Well done for Woot, indeed. The side of Heretics on the push through, being baited out by the gate crash, using up the ult, losing their double tap as well. It looked like that could have been a problem, but Woot, you know, they saw 3 players with Fluorescence ultimate. The one that went unaccounted for was Woot up in heaven. He gets a surprise kill. The punish was there as well. You know, Fluorescent came out of the ultimate on site because of the breach stun, and we saw great success from that earlier on in the first half. But this time, Heretics were ready. That 2-round lead maintained, and a big push from Miniboo again. This time, it's not a solo hold from Fluorescent. There's salvos waiting for that. There's a stun coming through, and even the showstopper used this time to good effect.
Governor's not quite as lucky. Well, it seems like neither was Fluorescent. Luckily, Mosey is there to trade, but Miniboo's job has already been done. The rest of the team can get into that post plant. Benji this time much deeper with the squad. In fact, it's Boo just hard watching towards that site.
Not really
A little careful though, because he's setting up smokes from afar, but Batu can thread the needle. It seems like the rest of the team are well aware that there was a gap. In fact, it is being watched completely by Woot, but doesn't win the fight. It's now becoming at least a little bit awkward, but luckily Rienz was there to save the day.
Yeah, worst case, Boo was rounding the corner to get the trade, so that setup, that deeper play from Boo, and just Woot being aware of that push-up, even though he didn't get the kill. It's the early info.
It's 4-1.
In position. 4-1.
Yes.
Oh, this is where it gets a little dangerous. I mean, the reality is, though, Apex, this round was a big investment from them, so their economy's not going to be in that healthy of a spot. So yes, previously,
let's go.
Heretics kept 4.5, and it falls apart. This time, I'm confident it's going to be a little bit different, and I'm worried that I'll regret saying that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm seeing Batu with a judge, and somehow that fills me with more fear than anything else. Fluorescent as well, just walking towards mid, obviously looking for someone other than Woot, and finds Miniboo. It will be the immediate trade, but even still, losing one of the heavy hitters from Heretics, who has been having a fantastic map. In fact, to be honest, Miniboo was decent in the last map as well. The Waylay, I don't think it filled me with mass amounts of hope for the Jet replacement, but he still looked all right on it.
Fortunate as well that the play around in that corner wasn't the one with the double tap, right? Miniboo's the one clearing that while Woot's watching up towards a deeper play from stairs or from vent. That ends up biting them with Miniboo down. And 45 seconds left. I mean, this is really, we're running that clock down low on the side of Heretics. Where they decide to go, well, I mean, they've gotten lucky here. Batu's avoided. Armu just moved out of heaven. He's right behind them with a judge! A madman! He gave up the position, but he went right back into it. Still, it keeps it into a 3v3. And they know Governor's down below. He's still good for one. This is getting scary. And eventually, well, it looks like things are getting better till Malsey picks up a rifle, comes in from heaven, no one's watching, and they do just in time. Rienz looked to the horizon. Found Malsey before that got a little bit too spooky. 11-7. Now it seems like Heretics, they're on the home stretch.
I could already hear the regret.
I was so scared.
Right now with the judge. Scared. No fear, and definitely a dicey round. In fact, I'd say that's back-to-back rounds that Rienz has sort of saved them.
You're so good, bro. Oh my god.
Well, seems like Benji agrees. Seems like he agrees. 11-7 though. Mentioned it before. In fact, that was the turnaround in the last half. It was a Danito pause that came in with a set play that was off the back of the dimensional drift, and that Armageddon. Well, one of those is not available, but they do have a Rolling Thunder instead. And that's the thing. I feel like this is where we see that value out from the coaching staff of Apex. The fact is, though, if there is no value in this round, that's probably map done.
Well, that's exactly it, right? You're putting it all on the line. You've got ultis. We're going to see probably the operator from what we're seeing down the bottom there. Fluorescence at least got it for now. This is it. Throwing it all at your opponents. And if Heretics are able to stand unshaken by that play, by this play, then yeah, 5 in a row to try to take it across the line. And a very explosive composition. Shouldn't have too much trouble making that happen, especially save up those ults and just dump them in. Speaking of which, Woot comes into this one with his ultimate online. Again, we'll be trying to pull a player into a one-on-one fight with his double tap shield online. A very, very difficult fight for anyone that gets brought in. And if it's Fluorescent, an impossible one with that operator. So there's a lot of dangers for Apex. And to be honest, there's not much you can do to avoid it.
Bring them down.
It's just say impossible and Fluorescent in the same sentence. Instead, though, we're not going to find out. It's Batu, someone you might want in this scenario, and there you go. It is.
All right.
The Turkish youngster. Some Turk-on-Turk violence that actually didn't go the way you'd expect, even with that little bit of extra shielding for Woot. And that's about as good as a start as you could hope for. Don't think the coaching staff called that one out.
No, probably not.
See what the plan is for the rest of the round. Fluorescent still with a pretty deep angle in towards B main. And that does seem to be where this Heretic squad are looking to go.
Makes sense. Look at the ultimate charge for Benji. Just one little orb, and he'll find himself a Viper's Pit. You may have the disadvantage in the round, but if you get a pit online and a plant inside of it, it's a very difficult thing for your opponents to deal with. But Fluorescent is holding this angle. The shot doesn't land. Benji's left alive for now. Batu falling as well. Apex's numbers thin out. Fluorescent needs one on this site. They're all around, and it's actually Avova to find it. Fluorescent in with another, but the trades come in so quickly. Rolling Thunder for Malsey committed here and now alongside the Armageddon, but they've easily dodged it. Well, at least it looked like Boo did. He got caught by it in the end, and Rian's falls too. Never mind. They're going to fall perfectly into that trap, and for the side of Apex, they get another shot.
Yeah, it's a lot invested into this round, though. It was completely necessary. Being able to win this fight was the starting point, but then Batu falls for his own tricks, and again, I think some Sailor supportive utility. I want to shout him out for the 15th time this game. Malsey stuns both players in that fight.
Oh, he went up top onto the rafters, and it just so happens that's exactly where the ult started. He was a pixel away from safety. I was wondering how he ended up going down.
A battle of the greats. Batu is here again with the judge. They managed to get a little bit further, but the thing is they have to fall back at this stage. Minibush just kept going. He took that space, dodged Fluorescent's operator, and then just carried on. Found Governor along the way. Has to be a little bit careful, and that's the thing, that pit is now gone. Oh no, maybe not.
Just got in the time.
Just about. Well, I think eventually he's going to have to give it up with this full commitment in towards the A site.
Yeah, the pit's no use anymore. It's time to focus on the site, but that is going to be remarkably tough if you've got a judge. Luckily, Batu's recovered a rifle now, and so a chance to take that fight on more even footing. The problem is, look at what Heretics have done. This deep pit as well. That's causing so much trouble with players embedded deep into screens. They've got so much control for Apex, but there is no choice really but to fight for this. It's a tough call for a save at this stage of the game. The fight, well, that may see them crumble as the first domino falls here. It's Benji Fishy onto Avova, up top, claim the kill. It's a risk, and one that comes back to bite them. A kill for Batu, but it quickly falls apart as the rest of Heretics close it out at 12-8. 4 chances to claim this map and bring us all the way to Icebox.
But that's the thing, it was a gap that Rien sort of left that ended up with Batu being able to get behind. But then because of that, they didn't know that Rians was still outside of the pit and wasn't ready for him to be clear, because they actually flashed through the screen to get to Rians and no one checked it. So that was just the mistake, but it kind of also got rid of the pit. So it was like a little bit unlucky and lucky at the same time. Nonetheless, we now sit 12-8. Weaponry, not great. Ultimates dissipated all but one for either side, but I'm looking at a potential showstopper and Nightfall that could be online.
Well, Miniboo is wasting no time getting in there. Dodges the stun, but not the flash. And it's Boo and Benji. Woot even showing up for the kills. Governor and Fluorescent, the last two alive. The ultimate used here by Fluorescent for information, but Governor is going to have to be hella clean with taking these kills. And indeed, he's caught before anything can be done. Fluorescent against the entirety of Heretics minus Miniboo. Caught by the ultimate, blocked out by the snake bite. Time is going to keep on ticking. As that spike gets ever closer to an explosion, Fluorescent is forced to swing into a triple stack. A high, high, low setup. And that's it done. 13-8, a gap of 5, and a recovery for Heretics on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, a stellar attack side in the end from this Heretic squad, finally showing the caliber of players that we've seen, but there is still one more to go. We'll decide this after the break.
Guys, I'm picking Waylay, right?
Waylay.
W-A. I'm the first EMEA Waylay.
I don't think anyone asked it, dummy man.
That's true, Benji.
Oh,
I'm just disappointed because my teammates are claiming me.
The way you react to it is up to you. It's a myth if you're offended.
Oh!
Red Bull gives you wings.